There we go, guys. That's how you go ahead and edit a photo in the style of Dylan Fursty. So I'll just do a quick before and after for those of you who want to see the difference before and after. Obviously this photo here on the right is ours and this is Dylan Fursty's reference photo on the left. You can see how well we've managed to perfect that look. Okay guys, so let's just dive straight into the video, shall we? Let's get started. So what we're going to be doing today is editing a photo really quickly in the style of Dylan Fursty. It's going to be a quick whistle stop tour just to make sure you guys are interested. Also guys, watch all the way until the end because we've got some really exciting stuff coming up at the end that you don't want to miss. So it's going to be a very short video, make sure you watch the whole thing. First off guys, let's just reset the image and crop our photo to a 4:5 ratio. That's the same as the Instagram crop that we use and that Dylan Fursty is using his photo. So let's just make that full size to the image. We don't want to lose too much. Make our road more central and then rotate it just to make sure it lines up nice and straight and cuts through the image right in the center there. Okay, so I think that should do. Cool, let's just click done and then come back to our reference photo here. Right, so first things first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get our tint and I'm going to drag that towards the green side just a tiny bit, add in a tiny bit more green, and then I'll get our temperature slider and I'm going to add in a little bit more yellow to ours. Now this might depend on your photo, but for us that's what we're going to be doing here. Next up we've got the basic panel. So with the exposure we're just going to be a little bit rogue and drop that all the way down to about -1.9, -2. Get our contrast and bring that up as well. Now it looks a bit crazy at the moment, but trust me, it's going to change as we go through the edits. So get our highlights, we're going to want to drop those just a tiny bit, not too much, and get our shadows and we're going to want to drop those quite a bit. Now as I said, contrast is really high at the moment, but as we adjust our blacks here we're going to really change that. We're going to bring up to about +80, +90. Now to counteract the loss of clarity there, I'm going to add in a tiny bit of clarity with our clarity slider. Now Dylan Fursty's photos are always usually pretty desaturated, so we're going to want to really bring down the vibrancy here to about -25, -30. We don't really want any colour other than green or blue in this photo, but just to make sure we have got some colour at least, let's add in a tiny bit of saturation. Next up is going to be the tone curve, so let's just do a quick 3-point tone curve here. We're going to want to leave our highlights roughly where they are. We haven't really got many highlights, you can see by our histogram here, so it's not going to affect it too much. Now with our midtones, just add in a bit more contrast. Let's bring those up a tiny bit, drop those shadows a little bit, and then add in a tiny bit of fade to the image by lifting our blacks. Now you can see Dylan Fursty's got a bit of fade in his photo, so that's what we're going to be doing in ours as well. Guys, really quick interlude. Thank you so much for making it this far in the video. If you have made it this far, keep watching because this is where the fun is going to happen. We're going to start changing some of the really cool colours in this photo. Also guys, if you do want to get better at editing in Lightroom and you want to go ahead and get pretty much every single preset that you can see over here, go ahead, click the top link down below in the description. You can get about 50 Lightroom presets, 20 Photoshop overlays and 10 Photoshop brushes at the moment for only 99 cents, guys. The link is down below in the description, first link. The offer ends in the next couple of hours, so go ahead and check it while you still can. Cool, so let's just get back to the video, shall we? Next up, we're going to come down to our green slider, bring that pretty much all the way up to the top, and get this really vibrant green poking out of our image here. Cool. Looking pretty good so far. We want to get some of that moody look in a second, which we'll get as we go to our split toning, but we want to start desaturating some of our image now. We don't want the whole image to be too saturated. This is what's going to start really bringing in that moody look. Start dropping down all the saturation, and there we go. Immediately we've already got that moody look. So let's just do a quick before and after, so you can see how different the image looks so far. Now obviously the final thing we've got to really do is apply this nice blue to the whole image, this bluey green, and that can be easily achieved using our split toning. So this is where the fun is, guys. Hold down Alt on your keyboard, scroll along to about 210 I think it is, to get a nice teal look to our highlights, and then we want to go for a saturation of about 9 or 10. We don't want too much there. Now as for the shadows, we're going to go for a similar one but a little bit more blue. We're going to push it towards about 220, and we're going to go a bit rogue on this one. We're going to whack up our saturation to about +30, +35, just like that. Now you can see already we've got that nice bluey green look to the photo, which is absolutely awesome. It's exactly what we're going for. If anything, I think we need a little bit more fade in, but we can go ahead and do that in a second. Let's add in a tiny bit of sharpening and a little bit of noise reduction. Dylan Fursty's photos are always quite soft, and that can be really easily cheated and achieved using our luminance slider. Cool, final thing guys, just to get the exact colour we're looking for, let's have a play around with our camera calibration. So let's just drop our red primary just slightly down to about -10, -12, not too much, just to add in a little bit more of that blue. Green primary, this is fun, we're going to add in a little bit of that, up to about +9, +10, very subtle, and then blue primary, we're going to also do the same, just bring that up to the right hand side just to make it a little bit cooler. I reckon about +18 should do. Now we're going to drop the saturation on this one, I think, and then drop the saturation on the green primary just to really get that moody feel, and then leave the red primary. I think that works pretty well. Okay, final thing, there we go guys, we're pretty much done on the color grade, but there's a few final adjustments you might want to do. Have a play around with adding in some vignettes. Works really well with Dylan's photos. Also, if you come up to your luminance slider and you get your yellows, you bring those up to the right, it makes the image pop that little bit more. You can also have a play around with the greens as well, just to make it pop. But I think we don't want it to be popping out too much because we are trying to compare it to the reference photo here. But I think that's working pretty well. If anything, I think we need to add in a tiny bit more fade, like we talked about. And there we go, guys. The photo is edited, fully complete, before and after. Hopefully you can see how well we've managed to replicate this look over here that Dylan Fursty's got in his photos. Pretty simple color grade, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, leave a thumbs up, and of course if you do want to go ahead and check out those Lightroom presets, the link is down below in the description as always. Guys, I will see you in the next video. Hopefully you've watched all the way through and you've got as much out of this as you possibly can, but I'll see you guys in the next video.